Hey, I'm Mike, this is Ryan and Phil, and we are BetterFieldTrips.com. We help students reach their full potential by bringing exciting education within reach. Currently, the problem is that many students lack access to exciting and effective educational experiences. Field trips, while everybody's familiar with going on field trips while they're in school, quite frequently, especially for underprivileged schools, field trips are rather inaccessible. But it's the best way, aside from in-class learning, it's the best way to really get some good experiential learning for the students, and studies have shown that. One of the main problems that for educators who need to pull these field trips together is that it's a very complicated system. Especially for overnight trips, there's a lot of moving parts. You've got multiple vendors, you've got security to worry about, you have multiple safety and liability issues, as well as, once you find all these vendors, the costs start going up and up and up. Tour operators help to solve this problem by consolidating, managing complexities, covering your security and liability issues, and also buying in bulk to reduce the price. However, only about 40% of educators are reaching out to tour operators in order to solve their problems. Our free website makes it easy for teachers to plan trips with the tour operators to reduce the costs and ensure the safety of the students. For educators, they can quickly choose the right services. The system has a review and rating process that helps the educators find the attractions that they want to go to, have reviews from other educators that help them understand the educational impact of those services, and also brings multiple resources to bear that are education related. Things like justifying the field trip to your principal or to the other administrators, or possibly bringing together the curriculum that you're going to need both before, during, and after the attraction. Once they've put together a number of services, they can quickly frame up a trip and send it over to the trip organizers, the operators, tour operators. Tour operators can then apply those bulk discounts and get back to them with a quote on how much the trip is going to cost. Additionally, you offset all of the liability issues for the teacher and all the security issues for the students because the tour operators know that that's an issue and have those problems covered. They have security operators in place. They have all the liability issues covered in the contract. So if we look at a teacher here in DC, maybe he's got 150 kids in an underprivileged school, and he knows where he is in his course standard, they're covering topics related to the Liberty Bell. So he really wants to get out to Philadelphia, where the kids are really going to be able to internalize the experience. But he doesn't know where to go. This is a particular problem for young educators. There's no good service to help them figure out how to put this together. And there's no service at all to connect them with the tour operators. So our DC teacher can go to our site, BetterFieldTrips.com, where there's a simple search area, and he can search through all of the attractions in the area that he's looking to go to in Philadelphia. He can get all the educational ratings from other teachers as to what's good and bad. He can also pull up all the justifications that he can justify his trip to his administrators and put together the entire trip as he sees it. He can search through. He gets searched with all the important things for him, what subjects he's looking at, the various star ratings, the ages of his students, and all the data is specific to those age groups and subjects. See the detail page, which gives him some of the basic information about the trip and the location. From there, he can package his trip. We send it off to the tour operators. They come back with a quote, and he can book his trip. This quote's going to be less than if he had tried to pull all the pieces together himself. When he returns from his trip, he can then also review all the pieces of his trip. So he can give data back into the system and help us crowdsource our database that way. So by attracting educators interested in field trips, we can build a very unique a very unique marketplace for leads and advertisers. This does not exist right now. Currently, the tour operators are accessing the teachers either by going out to the conventions or through newspaper advertising. We currently have commitments with 2 of our tour operators, $4 per student per trip, numerous revenue models, and a plenty big enough market. Questions?
Quick question. What's your background? You seem to know a lot about this. Maybe not.
These two have educational backgrounds. I run a couple .coms.
Actually, I'm the one that provides the security for the student groups right now. So, for the most part, I'm the bridge between the tour operators and actually with the school. So, a lot of times when I'm able to go out and make sure that everything's going smoothly, I get to hear the complaints, and at the same time, I'm visiting the same conventions that both go to. So, I'm just trying to pretty much bridge the gap.
I think it's well done.
Appreciate that.
I taught science for 4 years at the high school level, and I know that handling something like this and all the moving parts is not something I want to teach, and I want somebody else to handle this for me. Also, you know, the moving parts are definitely a challenge, and to prove to my principal that this is the sort of trip that's going to be worthwhile for kids to be leaving school and entertaining life.
It seems like it would be super helpful. I'm curious though, is it the case that each school would have kind of pre-approved X number of vendors so the teacher doesn't have to bear that? So
It's not necessarily that way. Some school districts do have pre-approved tour operators, so we would bring them into the fold. Okay? What's more important for the teachers is that they're teaching to the standard. It's the curriculum standards that they really drive home when we interview with them. And so that is to say, when it's the 4th week of the 8th grade, they're on this topic, and it damn well better be a trip related to that topic.
And to add on to that, just to give you some factual information, what happens is just because a company is approved, what happens is, like I said, I'm really in tune with a lot of the teachers, and what happens is they feel that the bigger companies have a cookie cutter type of way of doing trips. They promise you big things, and then you really get a small thing. So they're really complaining, but guess what? Who's listening? Who cares? But,
Yeah, this is a market I know really well. My last company was in the K-12 education market.
It's a tough market.
It's a really tough market. And one of the big challenges is you're going to have to sell to the school districts to become pre-approved, at least the methodology pre-approved at the big ones. So another way to do this is to sell to the groups in the schools, the band, the football
Of
teams,
course.
right?
I'm actually going
And
to.
those guys are not bound by the same rules as the
Exactly.
classroom teacher
Absolutely.
themselves. So go after all that extra
The
curriculum.
bands.
And those parents have lots of money.
Money. Yeah, exactly. I'm actually going to a show in Chicago in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they got money.
Okay?